Arromanches was an aircraft carrier of the French Navy, which served from 1946 to 1974. She was previously HMS Colossus of the Royal Navy. She was the named ship of the Colossus class of light carriers. She was commissioned in 1944, but did not see any action in World War II. She served with the British Pacific Fleet in 1945–46 as an aircraft transport and repatriation ship. In 1946, she was loaned to the French Navy and renamed Arromanches. She was bought by the French in 1951. Arromanches participated in the First Indochina War in 3 campaigns from 1948 to 1954, and the Suez Crisis of 1956. In 1968 she was converted to an anti-submarine warfare carrier. She was decommissioned in 1974 and broken up in 1978. Design and construction. The Colossus class was designed to meet the Royal Navy's wartime need for more carriers as cheaply as possible. They were built to mercantile standards, with no armor, no heavy AA guns, and only 25 knots speed. She was laid down the 1st of June 1942 by Vickers Armstrongs, launched on the 30th of September 1943, and commissioned on the 16th of December 1944. Weapons and systems. Radars. In 1947 she had for air scanning only 179B, for air and surface scanning 1277 and 1281B. With those she also had a target indicator, a 293. Then in 1954 she still had in her possession a 281B for air and surface scanning, a 291B and a 277. Arromanches also still had a 293 as her target indicator. Still for air scanning only she had the 79B, but she also gained later that year a YE and for navigation a DRBN-30. In 1959 she was downgraded and only had a YE in her possession left. That year she gained new scanning equipment. She had a DRBV-22 for air scanning and for surface scanning and navigation a new DRBV-31. And finally in 1972 she was fully downgraded and had her YE removed, but kept her DRBV-22 and DRBV-31 for air, surface, and navigation. Armament. Weaponry. During her time in military service she had 24 Vickers Armstrongs 2-pounder guns, 32 Olicon 20mm cannon, later replaced in 1945 by 21 Bofors 40mm guns and 4 Ordnance QF 3-pounder Vickers guns. Aircraft. During her time in service before 1968 she also carried the Breguet Bridge 1050 Alizé, the Vought F4U7 Corsair, the Grumman F6 F5 Hellcat, the Fugger CM175 Zephyr, the Curtiss SB2C5 Helldiver, the Douglas-5 Solomon Islands Dauntless, the SNCASE Aquilon, the Supermarine Seafire MK3 and 15, and the Grumman TBM Avenger. During her time in service after 1968, she also carried the Alouette 2 and Alouette 3, the Sikorsky S-51, Sikorsky S-55, and Sikorsky S-58, the Piasecki H-21 and Piasecki H-25, and the Morant Saulnier MS-500 Krieke. Aeronautical installations. The carrier had a regular flight deck 211 meters times 24.5 meters, catapult at the bow of the ship, 2 lifts, and a hangar fitted to accommodate 13 TBMs, 2 HUP-2S 15F4US and 2 HUP-2. Manning. As Colossus, she carried 854 crew, plus 222 Fleet Air Arm personnel in the air group. grew. In French service, she carried 42 officers, 145 petty officers, and 516 sailors in peacetime. Her war complement was 60 officers, 171 petty officers, and 613 sailors. Operational history. Royal Navy. After working up, Colossus left Glasgow on 12 March 1945 for the Far East. She carried 24 Vought Corsair IV fighters from 1846 Naval Air Squadron, and 18 Fairey Barracuda II torpedo bombers from 827 NAS. She arrived at Colombo, Ceylon on 13 June 1945, sailing on to Sydney, Australia, where she arrived the following month. Here, her 20mm Alicon guns were replaced by 40mm Bofors guns. In August she became the flagship of Rear Admiral Cecil Harcourt, commanding the 11th Aircraft Carrier Squadron. This force was sent to reoccupy Hong Kong. Colossus also headed a task force to occupy Shanghai, together with the cruisers Bermuda and Argonaut and 5 destroyers. In December 1945, Colossus transported released Dutch prisoners of war to Colombo. For the 17th of January to the 26th of March 1946, Colossus was refitted and repaired at Cape Town in the Selborne dry dock at Simonstown. French Navy. In August 1946, Colossus was loaned to France and renamed Arromanches, after the French commune of the same name, which was the site of the British D-Day landings. In 1948, Arromanches participated in the First Indochina War for 3 months. She returned to France in 1949. In 1951, France purchased the ship. She was again deployed to Indochina in 1953–54. In 1956, Arromanches was deployed to the Eastern Mediterranean Sea during the Suez Crisis on 3 November. 18 F-4U Corsairs from Arromanches and Lafayette bombed Egyptian airfields around Cairo. In 1957–58, Arromanches was reconstructed with a 4-degree angled flight deck, a mirror landing site and with other modifications for anti-submarine warfare, including operation of Breguet-Elysée ASW aircraft. She was also equipped for training operations. In 1959 she returned once again to Indochina. In 1968 Arromanches was converted to a helicopter carrier for the French Marines, with up to 24 helicopters on board. This ended her role as a training carrier. Arromanches was decommissioned on the 22nd of January 1974, and in 1978 broken up at Toulon, a place of importance for both the first Colossus in 1793, and the last in 1978.